Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Royal Rumble 2019 review that's 2 weeks late, but it's because of forces we could not control. It's your boy JoshAgeddon, joined with the Colonist. What's up, buddy?
Why is it always got to be in the afternoon? People watch us all times of day. So good morning and good evening to all of you people who are not watching in the afternoon. If you're watching in the afternoon, fuck you. No. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so
All times a day.
an explanation. The reason why this is going up almost like the weekend before the next pay-per-view is because we tried to record this review 2 weeks ago, but Skype was like, nah.
No.
Then we tried it on Facebook Call, and Facebook Call literally dropped us halfway through.
And we didn't even get halfway. We weren't even through TakeOver yet. It was gone.
We were halfway through TakeOver.
So if
Our-
you have shitty internet, you understand.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just can't do it.
Also, I want to say, when we're going to be talking about the Royal Rumble, I want everyone to keep in mind that whenever I criticize WWE for anything, I don't have much room to talk. Because the night I was watching this, the next day I had to be up at 6 o'clock, but I chose to watch the show anyway, while doing homework. So, whenever I criticize WWE for anything, I'm not the best person to do that.
I don't know why you'd be doing homework during a WWE. Oh, wait, no, yes, I do.
During the SmackDown tag match.
You know, that wasn't even the worst part of the show. But let's just jump right into it.
Alright, so the first match, SmackDown Women's Championship on the line, Asuka defending against Becky Lynch. This was probably the second best match of the show.
I really like this match.
Yeah, it was really good, as far as like one-on-one matches.
Yeah, this was, for some reason, these big four pay-per-views always have the theme of like great content and just screwy finishes. Like, I don't know why Becky Lynch had the tap out clean here.
I think it's because WWE knew that they've really screwed her over, like for the last year. So
I
they're
know they want to keep Asuka strong, and I think there's ways to do that without dropping a bit of momentum from Becky as a result.
yeah, they could have just done. How many times has Asuka won with a roundhouse kick?
It could have been a dusty finish, you know. It could have been something, or even better, is just Becky passing out.
Yeah, that would have been good too. 'Cause
Something other than just her literally tapping out. Well, it was not even that fast. It was not even that long before she tapped, too.
I will say that bridging Asuka lock was awesome.
Yeah, you know, it was really fun how they kind of played off each other with doing each other's finishers. Both, you know, it was a fun match. I think that they really set the tone. I really loved that Exploder into the barricade.
That was sick.
It looked like it hurt like hell.
Yeah, and that Asuka attempted to do a fisherman suplex neckbreaker, but something happened. There was some slight miscommunication, and they both almost died.
Yeah, I think that was kind of trying to do too much at once.
Yeah.
So you ended up with something that was like you're trying to merge two moves, and you end up getting neither.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's too much of a good thing. You know?
They didn't rotate enough, and Becky almost landed on the top of her head. She might have, just not as hard enough to like do significant damage. But yeah, that was pretty much the only sloppy spot in the match. And I also love the top rope Exploder. This was a really good match.
That was good too. They really did, and the crowd was hot for this match.
Yeah,
Phoenix was really into this, and chose a good match to start the show. It got the crowd ready for the rest of the night.
Yeah, so definitely a thumbs up for this match.
Yeah.
Also, before we go on, we did not watch the pre-show. Neither of us did, because screw that.
Do we ever?
No. Although, I will say...
No offense to the people on the pre-show.
Yeah. For example, like they had Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus one half of the Revival and one half of the Authors of Pain. Why? I have no idea.
Because reasons.
Yeah. And also, they had Shinsuke Nakamura win back the United States title after he just lost it, just to lose it to R-Truth.
Poor Rusev.
What is happening to that U.S. title belt on SmackDown?
What did Rusev do to deserve that? I'm serious, though. Like, he must have somebody in the office who just does not like him.
And, like...
Or something like that, because, like, I don't know.
How many times is he going to lose a match because he accidentally knocked Lana off the apron?
I think Vince hasn't got... Well, in all fairness to that, at least they used that later, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
So like for the very few times that WWE can actually claim continuity, they held it together for this show.
Yeah.
It was a smart move, I think, on their part. But still, it was just unfortunate. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
And I thought of something really depressing this afternoon. Of all the NXT tag teams that have been called up, the thrown together teams of Miz and Shane and Rude and Gable won championships before pretty much all of them.
Oh my god.
On the main roster.
Why, if you were on NXT, why on earth would you ever want to go to the main roster? I know we ask this every single time, but...
Well, it's like you're trying to turn a beautiful orange into, like, a rotten apple.
Yeah.
You know, when you take something from NXT and bring it to the main roster. And I know that because there's such a styles difference.
Yeah.
You know,
but Sean, it's the new era.
Oh, you mean the new era where we get to see the authority figures, which are supposedly us, but all the McMahons every single week?
Oh, yeah.
Exerting their authority. And never mind. Let's not put this. Becky and Asuka was great.
Yes. And also, they had the multi-man cruiserweight title match on the pre-show, which, again, I just want to see Buddy Murphy on a pay-per-view. That's all I want in life.
You know, I heard this match was actually pretty good. I only caught the tail end of it, and I myself am not a big, like, super spot fest guy, which I only caught, like, the last minute of it, so that's when all those high spots are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't thrilled by it. I'm sure if I saw it from start to finish, I'd be more interested in it. But, I mean, I think Buddy Murphy's a great cruiserweight champion, though, of anyone. He really is making the title seem like it matters a little.
All right. So, up next, in my opinion, my least favorite part of the show, well, one of my least favorite parts of the show, SmackDown Tag Team title match, Cesaro and The Bar versus Shane McMahon and The Miz. And all I want to know is how have Sheamus and Cesaro not just quit at this point? They've lost to a 10-year-old. They've lost to a guy who had a team... Well, they lost to a team who had a guy who peed himself for the distraction. And now this. And now this.
Yeah. Bar to AEW confirmed. Ooh.
Oh my god, I feel so sorry for these guys.
You know, but amazingly, I know that this was a match that I should have been angry at, but it was kind of fun. I mean, and not for nothing. I don't think that my big problem with this match was the fact that Shane was the focal point.
Mm-hmm.
He got the hot tag.
He
got the pin. He did that really fun shooting star, which I thought actually was fantastic.
Even though he accidentally elbowed Cesaro in the groin, which must have sucked.
It's not like they've had their balls since Mania 34 anyway.
Yeah, that is true. So he's probably immune to it at this point.
So, I mean, yeah, what are they going to do?
Yeah,
the only thing they can do with the bar left is have them lose to the beach ball that he tore up.
Don't give them any ideas, Sean.
I was gonna say, yeah. No,
Don't give them any ideas. It'll be like Kenny Omega wrestling that blow up doll, except it'll be Cesaro wrestling a beach ball.
God, at least the blow up doll looks like a person.
That is true, and it's not torn up yet.
Well, anyway. But you know what? Here's my thing, though. If the Bar can survive and win the tag belts after losing to that 10-year-old, they'll get through this, I think. I think this is honestly not as bad as them losing to a 10-year-old child.
They couldn't have had The Miz get the winning pin.
It's just, again, it's just proving that their whole "you are the authority and we're not going to be a part of things" was just blowing smoke up the fans' ass, which, funnily enough, all the fans saw coming.
Yeah, the authority is there. This authority is not going to be the main focus of the show, but one of the members of that authority is now a champion.
You know what I don't get though is Shane was acting so heelish, and then he teams with The Miz, and all of a sudden he's a babyface, and everybody likes it. And same thing with Miz. It's like, why is Miz a babyface? Because Miz has been a heel for a better part of a year and a half?
Yeah.
And he's damn good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And why was Miz's dad there? I don't know.
That whole thing, The Miz has main evented WrestleMania. Granted, it was an awful match, and he's been WWE champion. But this
WrestleMania main event match.
This was the highlight of his career in the eyes of his dad. Just wow. Teaming with Shane. Oh my gosh, what a career highlight.
having a child.
Nope.
And settling down with his lovely, beautiful wife Maurice. Nope. Winning the SmackDown Tag Team Championships from the same team that lost to a 10-year-old child. I'm so proud.
Welcome to Planet Earth, you guys.
Welcome to Planet WWE.
Yeah.
Where everything's made up and the smartest opinions don't matter.
Yeah, and nothing makes sense. Nothing at all makes sense. We sound so just drained talking about this show.
I know.
But
I honestly think this match could have been a lot worse executed. It ended up still being somewhat passable. I thought it was kind of fun. I mean, but still, I hate the outcome and what it was all centered around. Yeah. If this match had been the exact same and you replaced Shane with pretty much literally anybody else, everybody really liked this match. Yeah. It's funny how they kind of booked themselves out of this match being better than it was. Yeah, and I do think it's funny that, like, can you imagine being The Miz, seeing this guy who's, like, so much older than you and is not a wrestler doing a shooting star press, and, like, man, I wish I was as good as Shane McMahon. Well, if Miz actually made his figure 4 look any decent, then I might be able to believe him. I know, I mention it every single time, but every single time, he doesn't get any better with it. Sean, I have a serious question. What's worse, The Miz's figure 4 or Shane's punches? What, like his punches in the corner where he does all those rapid fire love taps? Yes. I would say Sasha's can kicks in the original one. Or Naomi's when she does the sidekick to the abs and like jogging in place and then does a roundhouse kick. Yeah. God, that looks so awful. God, I can't remember when it was. It might have been one of those when the women's SmackDown belt was just like in oblivion. They were just doing a bunch of multi-man matches. Mm-hmm. It might have actually been at WrestleMania the year that Naomi won it. Mm-hmm. Naomi was supposed to go over the top rope, and it took her a good like 6 seconds for her to bounce on the top rope like 4 times, and then just got back in the ring. Like she didn't even go over the top. She just stayed right back in, and it was like, wow. I think I remember that. I think I remember that. That was. I will say, as much as I do not like Naomi, the fact that we've seen a lot less of her over the past year has made me happy. And why the hell is she tagging with Carmella now? Where does that make any sense? I don't have any idea. Although I will say, as much as I do not like Naomi at all, she had one of, in my opinion, the funniest moments of the night, which we will get to at the Women's Royal Rumble, which I guess we can go ahead and start talking about right now. This. No, we have another. Women's title match first, don't we? Oh, wait. Yeah, that's right. My bad. So we'll get there. We're getting there. Yeah, I'm worked up, Sean. I'm worked up. I know, you get all amped by anger, and then it fuels me. That's how WWE's lasted this long. That's why people still watch this show. Get angry and complain about it. Angry at the show. Number 1 trending on Twitter. Everyone's mad. Hey, we're trending. So what do we care? Remember, Sean, as long as you get a reaction, it's okay. Yep. I mean, that's literally their philosophy at this point. That's why Reigns has been pushed so hard. That is what Roman Reigns is going to put on his tombstone. Like, whenever he dies. Whenever everyone dies, we all have something we put on our tombstone. That's going to be his quote. That was probably his yearbook quote. Yearbook quote. I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm just the guy. But yeah, so. He's doing well, by the way. Yeah, me too. I've heard. I mean it seriously. I do mean that genuinely. Yeah, I've heard that he's been doing really well, which is a good thing. He was just in that movie with The Rock, wasn't he? That spin-off of Fast and Furious. I have no idea. I don't want to say Calvin and Hobbes because that's the Tiger cartoon. Hobbs and Shaw, I think it is. I don't know. I don't pay attention to Fast and Furious at all. But Roman Reigns is in it, so yeah. Go ahead and watch that. And Dwayne Johnson is also 100 times more jacked than Roman Reigns in that. Yeah, it's laughable. Well, he's The Rock, so I think he's contractually obligated to be more jacked than everyone else on screen whenever he's on screen. Have you ever seen The Rock's Instagram of like every Friday or Saturday he has these cheat day photos, and it's him with like a tray of maybe like 12 pounds of sushi or like 7 pizzas. And he's just like, well, cheat day, I'm just going to eat the entire restaurant. Like, cool.
That is such a Rock thing to do.
It is. It's one of the greatest things.
It's great. Anyway, so WWE Raw Women's Championship match. Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks. I thought this match was alright. What'd you think of it?
This was kind of the same how I felt with Becky and Asuka. Great content and a weird finish.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason it's a weird finish, I like the fact that it took a pinfall rather than submission. I really like that. But I think it just felt weird because her quote-unquote Piper's Pit has never been established as a finisher up to now.
And so half the time she does it, it looks awful.
You know, when she's not calling out, hey, you guys ready? Okay.
I don't think I heard that this time.
I think she did it the first time she did it, but not the second time she did it.
I do like that they were having her like win via pinfall, though, because, again, the story of the match was her arm was messed up, so she couldn't really do the armbar, which I really liked.
The post-match was great. I thought that the interaction was fun, and it was intense, and it definitely could set some things up.
And Corey Graves just unmerciful. Corey Graves is the heel announcer. Sasha Banks is flirting with a heel turn. Corey Graves does not care. He has a personal vendetta against Sasha, and it's hilarious.
You know, normally I like Corey Graves, but this show particularly, I found him kind of insufferable.
Especially whenever Mandy Rose came out.
Yeah, normally he's got like these really funny quips, but he was just off on this night. It was hard to listen to. I mean, it's not his fault. He's dealing with how do I put this? He's like the solid shit amongst diarrhea.
Sean.
It's nice, it's comfortable, it's fine, it's still shit, but it's okay. And then everything else is just
Ladies and gentlemen, Sean McCarty.
Is that too graphic of an image?
No. I was just...
PC here,
No. I was just telling the audience, just Sean McCarty is the most eloquent man I've ever known in my entire life.
I'm going to say it like it is. If that's what it looks like, it sounds like. That's what it's going to be promoted.
Yeah. Such an accurate description. Although one kind of weird thing, you remember in the match when Sasha did the thing where she bounces on the ropes with the arm and like into the arm drag, except she turned it into the Alberto Del Rio arm code breaker thing. That was kind of weird because like when you jump on the ropes that's for building momentum into the arm drag. She just stopped and then the code breaker to the arm, and I'm just like, all right.
The thing I wrote down, because here I'm consulting my notes, and the thing I noticed about this match is Ronda looked like not kayfabe speaking, but it looked like her confidence wasn't what it was in 2018. It almost seemed like because she was in the ring with somebody like Sasha that she wasn't nearly as confident about where she was going and what she was doing, and it didn't really the match was still fine. It's just I noticed that there was something off about her demeanor.
Yeah,
throughout portions of the match.
Yeah.
And that might be why some of those spots looked kind of like disjointed.
Yeah.
And that could just be me, but it just didn't seem like she was the Ronda Rousey ass kicker, apart from her smiling to the ring no matter what she's doing.
And that stupid bird eye makeup stuff, which I actually saw someone other than me on Twitter complaining about it, which made me happy. So it's not just me.
At least it's been reduced a little bit.
Thank God, because
when she first had it, it was like two of the backs of her ears.
And I'm just like,
it was like terrible.
She has her wings on her eyes are so big she can actually fly to the ring.
I'd take that over her smiling skip. Just saying.
Those pearly whites, Sean. You got to get them on the camera.
I think I just saw the WWE 24 that they did from Orlando, and he pretty much just told her, just go out there and smile like fuck. Vince McMahon told that to Ronda Rousey. He's like, the world wants to see you smile. I'm like, no, the world wants to see her kick ass.
Vince.
Come on, man.
He still doesn't know he has a wrestling show. It's 2019, Vince.
Doesn't care. I mean, they just sent in their fourth quarter earnings report. They made more money this year than they've ever made before. I don't think Vince really gives a flying fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, so long as he's making money.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, again, I thought this was a good match, and I like that she actually won via pinfall, because it's a little different, and it shows, like, she has more weapons in her arsenal, even though some of those weapons look incredibly sloppy, but you know.
It was nice seeing Sasha back in this form. I've been getting really sick of this Bayley-Sasha crap. I'm just waiting for one to just turn on them and just have this match and be done with it. Because I'm just like, but this Sasha was nice to see again.
Yeah, but Sean, remember, they're going to be in the Elimination Chamber together. There's going to be an Elimination Chamber women's tag team match with people like Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, the Riot Squad, Nia Jax, and Tamina. That match is going to be a disaster.
Which, for some reason, only the Raw women had to fight to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Which really goes to show how few women they have to make this women's tag division even possible.
Yeah.
That's like, and that's not a knock. That's just statistically speaking.
Yeah.
If they have one full show being like, oh no, we're just gonna go in it. So
I will say those tag team belts look really cool.
They do.
Those are
look
very
better than the penny ones that the men's and the men's tag belts look like.
Well, Sean, they're not pennies anymore. They're quarters now.
Oh, right, excuse me. They've moved on from pennies to nickels.
Wow, what an improvement.
Yeah, really, and with people so prestigious like the massively renowned team of Shane McMahon and the Miz, or the even more renowned team of Bobby Roode and now Bobby Roode's gown-wearing Chad Gable. Talk about prestige.
Remember when Bobby Roode and Chad Gable first became a tag team, and whenever Bobby Roode would do his different entrance, Chad Gable would like come out from like under one of his arms and just start jumping in front of the camera? It was so awkward, but it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why these thrown together tag teams are having more prominent matches and having better luck as tag champions than literally any NXT tag team that's come up since NXT started.
Yeah.
Not even the one. It took Harper and Rowan, what, 5-6 years from coming up from NXT to finally capture tag team championships?
Actually, I don't know. Yeah, that's right.
Last year.
Yeah, that was last year.
They debuted in 2012.
Good lord. And they got on the main roster in 2013.
Yeah. Oh.
It took long enough.
Oh God.
Although I will say,
good luck to the women in the chamber.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That match
I
is.
know that the team that's going to win is the only team that I really think is going to have the skill enough to make it look like they deserve it.
You remember in 2015 when there was that Intercontinental Championship Elimination Chamber match where no one knew what the heck they were doing?
Is that the one that Ryback won?
Yep.
Well, that's probably why.
I think it's going to be a lot like that match. No one is going to have a clue what they're doing because you have
enough, I remember that match being like the fans were actually really into that match.
Yeah, and they
actually were into Ryback winning, which is weird to say now.
That's very weird. Very weird.
But at the time, they actually liked that.
Yeah. I mean, it was his... I don't like Ryback at all, but I could... as someone who doesn't like him, I'm being fair, it was time for him to win a belt.
Yeah. I mean, they really blew the opportunity back in 2012, 2013, you know, when he was really hot. You know, not to say that he had the wrestling ability to be the main eventer, but he definitely had the look and he had the gimmick and he had the fan reaction behind him to at least have it carry it for a little bit.
But remember, Sean, they had to keep the belt on CM Punk so they could build him up to lose to The Rock. So The Rock could have a once-in-a-lifetime 2 times at WrestleMania 29, my least favorite WrestleMania ever.
I still don't get why that had to be for the belt. I don't get that. And, you know, and right after that, you know, when you look at things like that, you really can't blame Punk for feeling the way he felt.
And in a few months, Dean Ambrose is going to be the new CM Punk. Except he's not going to vanish out of thin air all of a sudden.
I don't know whether you've heard this yet, but apparently for a live event in I want to say it's in Kentucky, but I'm not positive on that. We might get the awesome match of Dean Ambrose versus Nia Jax.
Yeah, I remember like skimming through my my news feed and I saw something about that and I was like, oh no.
And I'm guessing that's probably going to be Dean's Mania match, which he'll lose, and then he's going to be out.
At that point, I wouldn't blame him.
I wouldn't blame him if he actually just walked out before even having the match.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like unless that Mania bonus was that good of a paycheck.
Yeah.
He's got to be thinking about where he's going to work afterwards too.
Yeah.
Unless he retires, he might just retire.
Well, up next, the greatest Royal Rumble in history, Sean. The 2019.
The greatest Royal Rumble, that was in Saudi Arabia.
No, my bad. The 2019 Women's Royal Rumble. Okay, the first half of this match was atrocious.
That Lacey Evans promo was just awful.
I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even listen to it. When she picked up the mic, I was like, nope, and I muted it, and I waited until the next person came out.
I think she psyched herself out. She was nervous, and it showed. Because like what happened was, she was like 3/4 of the way into the promo, and then she like put the mic up to her, and she walked around the ring like twice, and then just put the mic away. Like she definitely had more to say, and just didn't. And I was like, oh.
And then she went on to wrestle, which some people thought that she was really bad. I thought she was okay, except there was one thing to this, like 2 weeks after the Rumble, I remember clear as day. Charlotte gives her a suplex. She immediately bounces up and immediately eliminates Peyton Royce and Billie Kay.
That might have been just a timing thing. That they had to get. I mean, I almost feel like that's partially Charlotte's fault, because if they all knew the timing, I don't really know how those Rumbles work as far as what the refs communicate to them as to when people are supposed to be eliminated and stuff like that. But I almost feel like that's a situation where Lacey Evans needed to be up and available at that moment, and Charlotte hitting that suplex didn't give her enough time to sell. I'm not trying to place blame on anybody. I don't know.
The timing of everything in this Rumble was very, very strange. Very strange.
Yeah, and I thought the entrants were really a letdown. I know they blew their wad on nostalgia last year, but it could have used at least one person. I was hoping Victoria. Because they didn't have her in last year's Rumble. It would have been a nice little surprise. She didn't need to stay for that long. She would have gotten a pop, no doubt.
And you have people like Tamina. Like, honestly, at this point, why is Tamina still employed? She's awful. She's so bad.
What does she do?
She's just off time for everything, and everything she does looks super clunky. Like,
what does she do at all?
That is true. And also, like,
you know this? Tweet your responses to JoshAgeddon and CIW Colonist, because I have no idea what Tamina does on WWE anymore. Except stand around silently looking menacing, botching, and being like, hey, I'm related to Nia Jax.
Wearing a gigantic jacket at all times, which you can tell it makes her tired really quickly. Like, she blows up immediately because she's wearing that thing. Take it off!
Remember when Tamina and Nia at Survivor Series, and they just pushed over each other like they were just these two massive bulls. Like, it was literally just a shoving match. Mm-hmm. It was terrible.
And probably one of the most infuriating things for me was, it started out really cool when Zelina Vega came out as Vega from Street Fighter. That was cool.
That was dope.
That was dope.
That was great.
But then, what annoyed me wasn't that she headed into the ring. What annoyed me was that she kept popping out under the ring every 5 minutes and the camera kept going over there. You know why they did that? To remind everyone, remember guys, she's under the ring.
By the way, she was never eliminated.
Yeah.
I'm just for fair, Hornswoggle came out, giggled, and then chased her out of the arena.
Presumably to rape her or something, which I can only assume what Hornswoggle wanted to do with Zelina Vega.
Hornswoggle apparently lives under the ring. God knows how many more little people are underneath that ring after the whole DX Little People's Court. To be fair, at the time, I thought that was kind of funny. It was stupid. It was really stupid.
It was really dumb.
But it was funny.
It was funny. It was really funny. I think I have
the last things that DX did that I was like, okay.
That I used to have that on DVD somehow. I have
the DX. I forget what the name of it is, but the DX DVD they came out with like in 06 and 07 when they first reformed, and man, they were really having fun then. It wasn't obviously the Attitude Era DX, but
yeah.
It was good stuff. It was one of the few nostalgia acts that didn't feel like nostalgia.
Yeah, and then they had the One of the strangest but most awesome Hell in a Cell matches ever against Shane, Vince, and The Big Show.
That's an underrated match.
Yes.
I mean, of the Hell in a Cell matches, that match deserves more credit.
I mean, that match has everything.
I mean, that match had Vince McMahon up the Big Show's ass.
Yes.
Everybody bled. It was really brutal at some times. I mean, everybody took some pretty nasty shots.
Yeah.
I mean,
Triple H shattered a sledgehammer over Vince McMahon's back.
Yeah, that was intense. I mean,
yeah.
I remember thinking he's dead.
Yeah.
To be fair, if that actually did happen to somebody with a real sledgehammer, that would kill you.
Yes, absolutely. And JR on commentary just selling everything like a madman.
God, there will never be another commentator like JR and King.
No, there will not be. But back to the Women's Royal Rumble, yeah, they kept cutting to Selena Vega.
We have to talk about this match.
Yeah, yes, Sean. This is the Royal Rumble 2019 review, not JoshAgeddon and the Colonist talk about memory lane back when things were more fun.
I know.
But eventually, near the last third of the Women's Rumble,
it picked up.
It really picked up.
It did.
Although, wait, there was one thing I forgot. You know who I hate even more than Tamina?
Nia Jax.
Somewhat less than Nia Jax. Alicia Fox.
That's not how you say her name. It's Alicia Fox.
I don't care how you say her name. I'm sick. I am sick and tired.
Why is she here? She should not be here.
She is as bad as Nia Jax is. She legit hurts people. Alicia makes me embarrassed to be watching the television. When her and Maria Kanellis were having their little get together, and then Maria squashed her hat. Alicia Fox took a bump.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to die. I actually wanted to die. She did a front flip in rage, and I almost punched the screen in rage.
Her making out with Edge was her career achievement.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that.
I don't know what it's like to make out with Edge. So
oh yeah, me either.
I don't know.
That's a lucky girl.
So we know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I plead ignorance.
Yeah.
No offense to Edge. I hope you're doing well if for some reason you're watching this.
Dude, he has so much better stuff to do than to watch the WWE Royal Rumble.
He's got the Edge and Christian show that totally reeks of awesomeness, season 2, which is on the WWE Network. Not trying to plug it, but they're really fucking funny.
It's only $9.99 a month, ladies and gentlemen. So
your words, not mine.
What an incredible deal! What an incredible deal!
Maybe not anymore if they're going to go with that tier system. But anyway, yeah, Alicia Fox, why? To be fair, she was injured last year, so it was nice to see her at least arrive here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's why?
Yeah.
And why Maria Kanellis? I'm sorry.
And another thing I really liked, I mentioned earlier the thing with Mandy Rose and Naomi. Naomi is pretty much the female Kofi Kingston. I know it sounds kind of racist, but bear with me. She's doing the thing where she's finding cool ways to avoid elimination. I loved, because her and Mandy Rose are having a feud over Jay or Jimmy Uso, whichever Uso, I can't remember. So she takes all this time, she makes that very precise jump onto the ring steps.
That was great. This was great.
The moment she lands, Mandy comes over and pushes her right off. I died laughing. That was awesome. That was hilarious.
That was so refreshing, because Kofi did it so many times getting back into the ring. It was nice to see that get so close and then to have it be taken away. That was really well done.
And then Mandy started celebrating, and I just started applauding, and Corey Graves was over there jerking off because Mandy Rose was on the screen. I feel so sorry for Mandy Rose whenever she's on the screen, because Corey Graves is over there being super awkward about it.
He must have really loved that segment with Mandy Rose in the hotel, which also didn't make any sense. Because why would you lure Jimmy Uso in there just to tell him, no, I didn't really give a shit about you. I'm trying to get at Naomi, which I still don't get. Why?
It was kind of like when they did that with Enzo, Rusev, and Lana a few years ago. Remember that?
No.
It was even worse.
I believe was like they were trying to do an Attitude Era bit, but they over-explained it, so that it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and they did the
sometimes less is more.
Yeah. And another thing I liked, which I thought was kind of funny, was near the beginning when Billie Kay came out, she made it emphatically clear that she was not going to enter the ring until Peyton Royce came out. Then Nikki Cross comes out, she stops right next to her for a second, freezes, then shoves Billie Kay against the barricade, runs into the ring. I died laughing. That was funny.
Yeah. I mean, there were little moments in this that were nice, but it was just overshadowed by the first 2/3 of this match just being a snore.
And a botch fest. Botchamania is going to have a roller coaster with that Rumble.
Yeah, shout out to Matthew in there. Hire me. Anyway.
But
I think Becky winning was the right choice.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about that. What I wish they would have done was described who Finlay was a little bit more for those who didn't know.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of younger fans who probably were like, who's this schmuck just saying, all right, go ahead and take her spot. Or have Lana just go over there and say, go fuck those people up.
Yeah. Instead of, and remember, Lana was like, no, I can compete. And I'm like, I mean, I like this.
When you have a steady leg.
Yeah.
You don't have a steady leg. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. If I were to complain about that one little spot, I would have liked to have either known who Finlay was a little bit more. I mean, all the smarks knew who he was.
Yeah.
They were like, cool, Finlay, great.
Yeah.
But.
And then it came down to Becky, Nia Jax, and Charlotte. And Becky eliminated Nia Jax, which was good, thank God. And then when it came down to Charlotte and Becky, it was great. It was great.
Yeah. Those two know what they're doing. I mean, there's no debating whether you feel like Charlotte should be added to this Mania match or not. Charlotte has the skill to, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's going to make it compelling. And I hear that that's going to be a Fastlane match is Becky Charlotte.
Okay.
Probably for the rights to enter that match against Rousey. So I'm not taking anything away from either of them. It really did finish. What I would have liked to have seen if they had the time was kind of what happened with Shawn Michaels and Taker in 07, where it became the final two, but then they went on another like 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, or Chris Jericho, Sheamus, but not as good.
Right.
Remember Chris Jericho and Sheamus were just going at each other, and Jericho put him in the walls of Jericho, and everyone was like, "That's not how you win the Rumble, Chris."
Well, who was it? I think it was Randy Savage who tried to go for a pinfall in the Rumble once.
And then someone kicked out, and he leapt over the top rope outside the ring.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Poor Randy.
Wrestling's fun.
Yeah, wrestling is fun. But yeah, very, very happy that that Becky won, and so it's going to be.
I think was probably the redeeming quality of this match.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it made the whole match worth it, which it kind of did. But would you go back and rewatch this match? Absolutely not.
Probably not.
Unless like a botched drinking game, which in that case you would probably die of alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that.
Okay, up next. This was. There were a few reasons why this next thing was disappointed.
I felt so bad for these guys because they tried so hard.
They beat the piss out of each other.
Yeah, they did. This is AJ and Styles and Daniel Bryan for the WWE title.
Yeah, WWE title. Daniel Bryan, the new Daniel Bryan.
Oh, I wish they'd stop saying that.
I know. Versus AJ Styles, or just call him Bryan Danielson.
Let's call him Hyper Vegan Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
The Hyper Vegan sounds like a great heel name.
Have you seen his new championship belt?
I don't hate it.
That's the point. It's it's great. It looks stupid. It's over the top and it's great.
I think it's going to look so much better when whoever wins burns it.
Yes.
Not because I want to see it burn, but because I really want to see it burn.
Dude, you know what would be awesome? If whoever wins it from Daniel Bryan, like, as they're burning that belt, they're eating, like, just a bucket of meat. Just to piss him off.
He's got a KFC bucket. They did have the partnership with KFC last year.
Yeah, they need to do that.
Return to the ring and won a battle royal for Kentucky Fried Chicken.
And, like, promote a Cabela's Dangerous Hunts video game all in one segment just to piss Daniel Bryan off. That'd be amazing.
Sponsored by Golden Crisp, of course.
Yes. But yeah, this was a really good match, but the crowd was exhausted.
They were tired.
Why did they put this match in the death spot?
Unfortunately, what else do you put here?
The SmackDown tag match.
You know, suppose, but then why? But I feel like people would definitely reject the WWE title match going on that early.
I mean, I would rather have a very early WWE title match than a WWE title match that's really good in silence.
Oh, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I mean, no matter where it was going to be, people were going to bitch about this match.
That moonsault DDT on the outside,
so good.
That was one of the best he's ever done. It was amazing.
It was so nice. I mean, everything was crisp. Everything looked like it hurt.
We got a dragon suplex in this match, and it was glorious.
To do a lot.
Yeah.
And Bryan, for as much as he's quote unquote changed his style, is still hitting pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. And AJ, one thing that made me laugh was AJ Styles gave him a brain buster, and I went on Twitter and someone said, "Can someone tell AJ to stop dropping Daniel Bryan on the top of his head, please?" Just very concerned for Daniel Bryan's health.
Well, I think that's probably part of the point. I think that's why I honestly have started to think about that Survivor Series match with Lesnar and Bryan. I think that first German suplex was over-rotated on purpose for that exact reason.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows the concussion history of Daniel Bryan, and the more they can exploit that, the better compelled people are going to be into the match for his safety.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they should do that, but that's what they're doing. And then Eric Rowan shows up.
Yeah, you were talking about weird finishes.
Why? Why?
Why is it a claw choke slam?
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Daniel Bryan's got a beard. Eric Rowan's got a beard. Let's put them together. Give him a flannel.
Remember.
Send him down.
Remember, Eric Rowan is a vintner. A wine man.
I just did not get that. I mean, honestly, in the weeks since, okay, fine. They've done okay with it. They've made it at least passable. But at the time, I was just like, everybody there was kind of just like, what?
Yeah, me too. And I was even more what when Luke Harper didn't show up. It was just Rowan.
No, it was just Eric Rowan. That was the most confusing part about it.
They're saving him for Elimination Chamber, aren't they? They're saving him for the Elimination Chamber.
Of anyone from the Wyatt family, you chose the least interesting or memorable character to show up and just be like, hey, here's your win, Daniel Bryan.
Dude, they're holding off Luke Harper for the Elimination Chamber, aren't they?
Maybe. I'd like to see Luke Harper with actually like a significant singles run at some point, because he is a hell of a worker.
Yeah.
But who knows?
And of all the moves to pin AJ Styles, the claw slam.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, just a choke slam would have been fine.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that this eventually leads AJ out of the title picture. Not because he doesn't deserve the title, but just he's been in it for so long.
Yeah.
He needs some fresh feuds, and he needs them without worrying about the title on the line.
Who do you think's
he's a good enough competitor where he doesn't need the title to be a compelling draw?
Yeah, who do you think's going up against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping not. I'm honestly thinking it's either going to be Samoa Joe or Randy Orton.
What if they do this?
More towards Orton.
I might be crazy, but what if Mustafa Ali wins the WWE title at Elimination Chamber and they do a rematch at WrestleMania? What if they do that?
I think Vince would probably have an aneurysm.
Do it! Do it! Now!
I just can't see that happen. I think Mustafa Ali very much has become one of the most compelling things on SmackDown of late, which is really a testament to him.
Yeah.
And I hope that he gets something good. I'd like to see Mustafa Ali face probably Hardy at Mania more. Maybe we'll see Bryan and Hardy at Mania.
I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. Daniel Bryan versus Mustafa Ali at WrestleMania for the title.
I'm excited for this Elimination Chamber match because I think for the first time in a long time, all 5 competitors have a pretty legitimate reason to be in, and they all have a legitimate means of getting into that main, quote-unquote, main event WWE title match with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun to watch. And that's something that you don't get to say a lot when you're talking about hype for a pay-per-view.
Yeah. But Sean, speaking of fun to watch, this next match.
Loved it.
This was the best thing on the show.
Loved it.
My boy, the Universal Champion Brock Lesnar versus my other boy, Finn Balor. Oh my god, this match was so good.
Started out hot. This was my favorite part of this match was the start. Finn Balor goes right after Lesnar, no sitting there going, okay, let's try and lock up with a dude 3 times my size.
Yeah.
It was like, no, I'm going to start kicking the crap out of him and start exploiting a weakness, which you don't see out of Lesnar matches.
Yeah.
It started hot and it needed to, and it was brilliant. It was just brilliant. I was engaged from the second the bell rang.
These belly-to-belly suplexes were so awesome.
They looked great.
Why do people complain that Brock Lesnar doesn't do that many moves? If the moves look good, who cares?
I think this match definitely... I think a lot of the time people complain because a lot of Lesnar's matches look and feel the same. And this one didn't in any respect.
No.
And that's... it started off hot. Lesnar looked weaker, as a result, which, I liked the MMA style finish that they did.
Yeah.
It was abrupt.
Yeah, it was very abrupt.
Speaking of weird finishes, but it allowed Lesnar to kind of get his shtick in with all the German suplexes and the F5 after the fact, which was refreshing.
Yes.
Because it didn't feel like that was necessary for the storytelling of the match.
Yeah. And another thing I loved was they pulled a Triple H versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2012. They hit him in the diverticulitis.
Yeah.
Got impaled on the table twice.
And Lesnar sold it like a champ.
Yes, and that's the exact spot that the coup de grace lands on. So you knew that that's what they were building to the entire time, the instant he touched that table.
No, and I've heard that Lesnar really likes working with the smaller guys, too.
Yeah, because those were some of his best matches.
Dynamic with them as well.
Yeah. And another thing I loved was, with each belly-to-belly suplex after he hit the table with his stomach, the suplexes, he didn't do them as fast, he didn't do them as impactfully, and then it got to the point where he just couldn't do them anymore because it hurt too much. That's some good stuff.
He was actually wearing out, and that was really good storytelling. It goes to show why Lesnar is paid what he's paid.
He's so good.
When he wants to try, when he cares, he delivers.
Yes, and
no doubt.
That is why that's why he's my number 2 all-time favorite. Just this match, and Finn Balor was great too.
No, I've decried Finn over the past few years because he's just never been my cup of tea. This is probably my favorite Finn Balor match I've seen up to now.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Yeah,
I
have a newfound respect for Finn Balor after that match. But why, Joshua? Why was the Demon not here?
I know, right?
Any time to bring it out. You bring it out for a squash match with Baron motherfucker.
Oh my god! Yeah.
And canon speaking, the Demon's supposed to come out in the situations where it is the most dangerous and the most over the odds, overcome the odds, beat somebody insurmountable. Don't you think Brock Lesnar is that kind of situation?
He's the Beast. They could have billed this as the Demon versus the Beast.
I just felt like that was such a missed opportunity.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
It was, and they could have booked the match the exact same way.
Yeah.
The exact same way.
Exactly,
but,
and it would have been just as good, if not more so.
And the pop that he would have gotten as the Demon, as opposed to the pop that he got just as Finn.
And didn't you call that they wouldn't do that?
Oh yeah, I knew they wouldn't have the balls to pull the trigger on that, which I don't get, because the Demon is so marketable. You know how much T-shirt sales he could get from that?
A ton.
It's like, I don't know.
But yeah, this was easily the best thing on the show.
Yeah.
And it was like 8 minutes long.
That's all it needed to be, too.
Yeah.
I don't think it needed to be a 25-minute classic. It was fast-paced. It was high intensity, good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then up next was, in my opinion, the second best match of the show.
It has to be the third, because you already said that Becky and Asuka.
For Becky and Asuka, I meant like one-on-one matches.
Oh, okay, fine.
The Royal Rumble, I thought, was the second best match on the show overall.
Got it.
Which, this was a very good men's Royal Rumble.
It was. And I know, you and I were kind of talking about this that night. For some reason, I love my Jeff Jarrett. I love Jeff Jarrett. You know why? Because I have a lot of respect, not for stealing Kurt Angle's wife. But he's always been one of those underrated workers. He was great in TNA. When he was a heel, you wanted to see him get the piss kicked out of him. He really could cut he was a great promo guy. he had some pretty great matches. His match with Sting in 06 is still one of my favorite TNA matches that he ever had. And you know, it's just, I mean, why he came out in the 90s outfit is beyond me. He did not need to be in that. God, it looked bad when he was in shape.
Someone on Twitter said that he looked like a dominatrix.
He looked like if the Michelin Man tried to, like, if the Michelin Man tried to dress like Jeff Jarrett, that's what Jeff Jarrett looked like.
I'm not, as much as I enjoyed this match, I hated the start because I'm not as big a fan of Jeff Jarrett as you are. But when the instant they said, introducing number 1, Elias, I was like, God, why? Because I knew they weren't going to start with a match, they were going to start with a song. And then when Jeff Jarrett came out, I knew it was going to be even longer before the match even started. And it was like 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it was just, the show was wicked long.
Yeah, this show was way too long.
Because that was, I think, what happened. The Women's Rumble, I think, was probably 15 minutes longer than it needed to be.
Yeah.
And the Men's Rumble could have used that time better,
I
think. And that's not a knock on the women. I'm not saying that just, like, in hindsight.
Yeah.
That, because a lot of this Men's Rumble did feel a little rushed, you know, but it's, but getting back to the beginning, it did kind of drag on a little bit, but at least Jarrett was only in there for about a minute. You know, it wasn't like he was featured. It wasn't like he was there for a long time. It was like, hey, I did my bit. I got eliminated. Let's actually start the match. I was cool with that.
What do you think of him and Elias actually feuding now and bringing Road Dogg into it?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. If this leads to Jeff Jarrett and Elias at WrestleMania, I'm going to be really confused.
Me too.
Because it's like, and I love Jeff Jarrett. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve a match, but this is Jeff Jarrett in 2019 we're talking about.
Yeah.
And the whole premise of this feud is, hey, you have a guitar. Hey, I had a guitar. Hey, he sings sometimes. Let's fight.
Yeah. They just need the honky tonk man.
There's no way.
Please.
With as much shit as I would love that. Don't get me wrong, I'd love that just because it would be genuine absurdity.
Yes.
It's like it'd just be straight out of there. But I don't think that of all the people. Well, though then again, for as much as Honky Tonk Man is shit on WWE over the years, nobody ever thought that Jeff Jarrett would ever come back to the WWE. So stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
But
my absolute favorite thing in this match, other than Seth Rollins winning,
the Mega Tower.
No, not that. When Pete Dunne dislocated Aleister Black's fingers.
Oh yes.
And then Aleister Black popped him back into place and start fighting again. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I love Aleister Black and Pete Dunne. I want to see them in a one-on-one match so bad on NXT. Mind you, not main roster, on NXT, because that would be money.
Give him some time to tell that story. I mean, Pete Dunne is really he's such an underrated guy. I mean, a lot of people like him. You know, a lot of people who follow him like him. But there's like a lot of movements that he does that not a whole lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's got such a uniqueness about him. For as much as his stature, I think, would hold him back in WWE, at least on the main roster.
He's incredibly unique.
He is a one-of-a-kind talent.
You know,
I think he takes a lot of that from Regal.
You know what would be an incredibly stiff match? Aleister Black versus what's his name? His name just left my brain. The bro guy. Matt Riddle? Yeah. Can you imagine Aleister Black versus Matt Riddle?
I think it could happen.
That would be so stiff.
I think it could happen unless Aleister Black gets called up first.
I don't want to think about Aleister Black on the main roster. That just makes me depression.
You know, it's funny. You say the phrase call-ups and everybody groans.
Yeah.
Just saying. Doesn't that... I feel like that's pretty indicative. Now, I'm looking at this note, and the biggest note I've got in this... Well, we'll get to that. That Mega Tower was awesome. I mentioned that Mega Tower. It was like, what, 4 or 5 different people on that? Yeah,
and they were struggling to hold him up, and then he had to and then he had to jump, and then and they almost all died, but they got it.
And it was just, and that got a huge pop.
Yeah.
A crowd that was white, and it was already 5.5 hours, and it was a massively long into the show.
Yeah.
But that got such a huge pop. The same with this one. As much as I like Jeff Jarrett, I would have liked to have seen at least one more guy, nostalgia-wise. Jeff was not going to get the pop that somebody like The Godfather got. You know, which still boggles my mind to this day. The Godfather receives bigger pops than almost anybody when he shows up. And he literally just goes there with a bunch of women, chimichangas his way up to the ring, and then just loses.
Immediately.
And then chimichangas his way back.
They did the same thing with No Way Jose tonight, and it sucked.
Why was he there?
Why is he still employed?
You could have replaced No Way Jose with literally anybody else.
He's the new Adam Rose.
That was such a waste of time.
Yeah.
That was my biggest disappointment from this men's rumble. Was like it was such a waste of time.
Oh, it wasn't my biggest disappointment or annoyance. You know what my biggest disappointment and annoyance was?
I'm assuming it's the thing that I put in all caps on my notes here, which is Nia, why?
I knew that they were gonna do something, because R-Truth number 30, no, that's not gonna be it.
That wasn't gonna happen. We all knew that wasn't gonna happen.
But really, Nia Jax of all people.
They're saying they're promoting equality, but they couldn't do that the other way. There's not a chance in hell that a male wrestler could come and attack a female wrestler and enter himself into the women's rumble.
No.
You can't have it both ways, WWE. You got to make a choice. I understand women empowerment, huzzah, good for you. But double standards are also double standards. You know, you couldn't have that the other way.
And the crowd and Twitter was pissed. Like,
man, what a satisfying RKO.
Oh my god, yes. When the loudest pop of Dolph Ziggler's career outside of that Money in the Bank cash-in, when he super kicked Nia, the crowd went nuts. The 619, the RKO, the elimination, like, that crowd was so happy. And so was I.
I don't think there was a single person in that arena who wasn't happy. But, honestly, to be fair, testament to Nia for having that much heat that seeing a woman getting hit with multiple wrestling moves would get a crowd to pop.
Yeah.
To her credit, I'm not saying that she deserves it, but to her credit, she was hated enough to get a pop for getting the crap kicked out of her by a bunch of men.
Yeah, now she's feuding with Dean Ambrose for reasons.
Super. You know, you mentioned Dolph Ziggler, and again, another depressing thought. Dolph Ziggler, he's a good wrestler. I mean, there's no debate that he's a good wrestler.
Yeah.
But he started on the Spirit Squad, which buried every talent in there. And he was the only one who bounced back and made a career out of himself by growing his hair and rebranding himself. And then they buried the rebrand.
Constantly.
God damn it. What do you have against this man?
One thing I will say, when it came down to the last couple guys, when Andrade Cien Almas and Dolph Ziggler went at it, they have chemistry.
They did.
I want to see that one-on-one match, because they have chemistry.
Almas has been such... Well, no, it's just Andrade now.
Ugh.
It's just Andrade.
Do you know what they did with Heavy Machinery? It's just their first names now.
Honestly, I would take that better than I would if they had renamed Heavy Machinery. You know, fine. Do your first thing. Biggie did a great tweet. He's like, welcome to the club, man. Autographs are a lot easier now.
That's true.
I'm like, all right, fair enough, Biggie. That's a good point.
Speaking of Big E, this time Kofi Kingston's big Royal Rumble save was so awkward.
Yeah, this one, it just didn't feel right. I think it was kind of a sign that Kofi's slowing down a bit.
Or I think it's that, and there's only so many ways that you can barely avoid getting eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, this is the 11th year that he's done something?
And plus, they were doing it in the Women's Royal Rumble. We forgot to mention, in the Women's Royal Rumble, Casey Cannizzaro, the last name I can never spell correctly, the way she avoided elimination, that was spectacular.
That was cool. Also, I'm jealous of Ricochet. That's all I'm going to say. I'm wicked jealous of Ricochet.
Yeah.
Because she is a smoke show.
Oh my god,
that
yes.
Flexibility, that's... Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that core strength. Anyway.
I think I'm sitting down and this should be canceled.
Yeah. God. Oh, man. We're getting demonetized. Anyway. So, yeah. And then it came down to the last couple guys. Then Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. Also, another thing that I forgot that annoyed me. As much as we were talking about Dolph Ziggler, how he's a good wrestler and how he keeps getting crapped on. Why was he the one who eliminated Drew McIntyre?
I don't know why they're still trying to continue this feud.
Why?
It's been dead in the water since Hell in a Cell.
Did you see how freaking awesome Drew McIntyre looked when he first came into this Royal Rumble? Just destroying No Way Jose's posse?
I think Drew's going to get his due. I think it's only a matter of time.
Why would you...
I don't know what... I think Ziggler's got something on McMahon. I think that's what it is. Not enough to get him a significant push to the world title, but enough to keep him employed and to give him some big ups. Like eliminating Drew McIntyre.
But seriously, when Drew McIntyre first came out and started demolishing No Way Jose and his crew, that was beautiful. It was wonderful.
Drew's something special. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets that world title. Honestly, it would be kind of cool to see Drew McIntyre just say, hey, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to jump ship. Daniel Bryan, I'm going to come take your title. I don't really care, I'm just going to do what the hell I want.
That'd be cool.
I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be nice.
And finally, we came down to Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman, and I liked how they built up that Braun Strowman tossed out Andrade, then he tossed out Ziggler, and there's one more guy left. But then Seth Rollins wins with a curb stomp on the apron, which looked kind of odd, but it was cool. At the same time, Seth Rollins won.
Yeah. And it was, to be fair, in the speculation leading up to this match, everyone said it's either going to be Braun or it's going to be Rollins.
Yeah.
And the fact that they made those two the final two, as predictable as it was, I felt like that was kind of necessary.
Yeah.
As far as the build goes, say what you want about Braun, say what you want about Seth, but I think it was booked the way it had to be booked. Mm-hmm. And Seth winning, I'm glad that Seth won.
Yeah, this is one of those times where it's super predictable, but that's a good thing, because that's what they should do. It's what makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes the predictable option is actually the best one.
Yes.
You can't expect to be swerved all the time.
Yeah.
Because then when you get swerved all the time, then A, you come to expect the swerve, and B, you don't like when they swerve you.
Yeah, there's only so many times you can do a swerve before you end up giving a world title to David Arquette.
Who now, for some reason, is actually a decent worker. And but let's not get into that. We'll see him on AEW.
Oh, Lord. But anyway, so that is the 2019 Royal Rumble, a very strange show. What is your grading on a scale of 1 to 10 for the show?
This was hard. This was hard to grade because, in a lot of the action itself, 9/10 of the action was actually quite fun. I had a fun time watching this show, but these finishes were just strange.
Yeah, very, very odd.
And that's always how it is, I feel, with these big four pay-per-views. I don't know, every time we come in here, we say, great matches, weird finishes.
It's because whenever they get to the big four, they're trying to, it's like they're trying to make a movie where they're trying to, thread all these plot things together, but they're overthinking it, and nothing just makes sense by the end.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time they just try too hard.
Yeah.
And that's... There's ways around that. I think that sometimes simpler is better. I give it a 7.5 at the time. It could be more of a 7 now. I haven't rewatched it because I don't think I could. But
okay, so
7 to 7.5, I would say. It was good action. It was a fun night. It just went on way too long.
All right, so I'll just boil that down to a 7.25.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
For me, I enjoyed the show. I thought it was all right, but the Shane winning really, really made me mad. I should have seen it coming, but it made me mad. The majority of the Women's Royal Rumble was awful. Daniel Bryan and AJ was very good, but it was depressing because no one cared. Then Eric Rowan for some reason. So there was some good stuff.
When you least expect it.
Oh yeah, he's like a pimple on prom night. So I'm honestly gonna give this show a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't even blame you for that rank. I'm sure that if I rewatch this, I'd probably rank it lower. It's I'm just kind of flipping through notes here because it's not like this happened yesterday.
Yeah. We're very, very, very late on this review, and I apologize for that. But Skype
I don't care.
Skype is not our best friend.
No,
Not by a long shot.
No.
Well,
do you want to touch real quickly on Takeover?
Sure.
Because now that we've gotten the crappy show out of the way.
Takeover was awesome.
We don't need to touch too long on this, but first of all, one of the things I noticed was like at Takeover, they definitely got the better of the sponsors because they got Kingdom Hearts 3 as opposed to Golden Crisp. Oh, and speaking of Golden Crisp, why is it that the New Day, who had their own brand of cereal, are promoting another cereal?
I don't know.
That's confusing.
I don't know why they're still a tag team. I don't know why they do anything they do.
But if they had their own cereal, don't you think it'd be counterproductive to be promoting a different cereal?
That's just them being wacky, Sean. I have no idea.
I'm just saying, logistically speaking, that's a bad business tactic. If you're trying to sell boxes of cereal, don't promote another box of cereal.
I would say it's also a bad business decision to cram pancakes down your onesies, down your tights, and throw them at children.
To be fair, they had my favorite. I think the pancake things have gone well beyond stale at this point.
Haha, I see what you did there.
But they did have my favorite moment of the Rumble 2018 when they eliminated Jinder Mahal and they started hawking pancakes.
That was funny. That was funny.
That was the funniest moment in that.
Just pelting him with pancakes.
But anyway, let's get back to Takeover. I loved that tag match.
That tag match was really good.
And the War Raiders entrance, I was hyped. I mean, that entrance was brilliant.
And, whenever, my gimmick as far as wrestling is I don't like the big guys. That's not true. I love the War Raiders. And they're big jack dudes. Well, not jack, but they're big dudes. And I love them.
Who else but Hanson could hit a handspring elbow like that?
I know, right? I can't even do that.
I mean, it just looks beautiful. And I saw Hanson live once facing AJ Styles, of all people, at an indie show.
Whoa.
That was a hell of a match. Stole the show.
Dude,
I want to... 24? It was when it was right in that little window before AJ went to New Japan, but after he left TNA. So it was like this little teeny window where he was working indies, and that was one of the matches. But anyway, the only thing I really had an issue with this match was Rowe started selling the leg. At one point, they did like a leg sweep or something, and Rowe started selling the leg, and then they just didn't capitalize on it. They just moved on. You know, they did it. I'm like, he gave you like the golden egg of cells.
Yeah.
And you didn't bother with it. Which honestly didn't hurt the match in the long run when you look at it.
I loved when he had one of the guys in a gut. I think he had Kyle O'Reilly in a gut wrench. He had one of the guys, and the other dude just elbowed him right in the mouth, and he just no-sold it, and then powerbombed him into the other guy in response.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
That was hilarious.
That was fun, and you know, I loved Mauro Ranallo quoting Anchorman because they entered the ring. It was like, well, by Odin's Raven, here come the War Raiders. I'm like, see what you did there. The only thing that would have really improved that entrance would have been Pyro. Yeah. I miss Pyro.
And you talked about them being promoted by Kingdom Hearts 3. I mentioned this when we tried to record this last time, but then Skype and Facebook was like, no.
Right.
If they, when the next takeover, if they're not sponsored by Devil May Cry 5, I might actually weep despondently.
I think it's possible.
I would be so happy.
I think NXT is definitely going to get the better sponsorships for now.
Yeah.
You know, at least things that are going to cater to the smarts actually watching the show.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, I wish Kingdom Hearts 3, as far as what I've been seeing, was better. But they also have a ton of DLC that they've got to throw in that, which honestly kind of ruins the point of Kingdom Hearts, because the first two games were totally DLC free because they were the full game.
Yeah.
But now they're like, hey, let's just add all the Final Fantasy characters and 3/4 more plot in the DLC.
But Sean, remember, that's back when games were, actually like games. You got the whole thing, and gaming was actually fun back then.
Where you could actually spend $60 and get a full game rather than spend $60 and then spend another $60.
When you spend $60 and you only have a fourth of the game.
Yeah, God, that was. Video games right now are very much the same way that WWE is right now, where there are little bits that are great, but you have to appreciate them after the fact, after they've added patches to try to cover their ass for the mistakes they've made. So, but speaking of great things, I loved the finish to Matt Riddle and Cassius Ohno.
Me too.
Where I've never seen that before, where somebody had to tap because he was just getting beaten down so bad.
Yeah.
That was so unique. That was such a clever finish. I was so happy about that.
That finish was really good, but my favorite part of the match was when Cassius Ohno kicked Matt Riddle in the mouth. Like, it went into his mouth. How does Matt Riddle still have teeth?
Yeah. Oh, and then I wrote down here in my notes, Cassius has a foot fetish after.
Oh, man.
I understand why you did it, but man, that just made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, there was a lot of feet and mouths in this match.
Yeah, that's. But you know what? That's not a knock. They did a great job.
Yeah.
They did a great job. The best match of the night, Ricochet Gargano.
Like,
No doubt.
it was so good. The suplex brainbuster on the concrete on the outside, that looked brutal.
So good.
That second springboard DDT was sick.
Yeah, for real. I had in my notes here. I have nothing on my notes for this, which never happens. You know, it never happens that there's a match that I just have nothing to say because it was start to finish everything that you want from it.
It was really
The
good.
only thing I had an issue with is when the referee held the title up right before the match. There were a bunch of fingerprints on the belt. It just looks dirty.
Yeah.
Just do a little wipe. I mean, that's a big ref shirt. Just do a teeny wipe down.
Just wipe it with your ref shirt.
Polish the belt a little bit. Just make it look all nice before you hold it up for the hard cam. That's all I ask.
Don't spit on it though before you start wiping. Just wipe with your shirt.
No. Just the shirt. Shirt will do fine. It's just a couple fingerprints.
Yeah.
Anyway. Then we had Baszler and Bianca Belair, and for someone as inexperienced as Bianca Belair, she really held her own in this match.
I thought this match was really good. And I loved how they had her stand up out of the Kurafuda clutch twice.
Yep. They made both women look strong, and this match definitely did wonders for Bianca Belair. That hair slap though into the chest.
Oh, that was brutal. And it left a gash.
Or busted Baszler open. I'm sorry, not a.
Yeah.
And I gotta really say, massive tribute to Shayna Baszler, where even if a woman is a heel going into that match, Shayna's so good as a heel that no matter who she's facing, they're cheered.
Yeah. Yeah, she's really good at making the crowd hate her.
Yeah, it's really and the Kirakuda clutch straight into the suplex was wonderful.
That was one of the best suplexes I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was I think one of the best spots of the night.
Yeah,
including Ricochet Gargano. I thought that was really well thought out. And even in losing, Belair looked like $1 million.
Yeah.
This was and honestly one of the best women's matches I've seen since Asuka was in NXT.
Yeah, and like Shayna Baszler, like she had to keep switching arms for the clutch because one of her arms got tired, so she had to switch the other arm. Just good stuff.
Shayna Baszler has improved so much in a year's time.
She's really, really good.
She's really gotten good. She's one of the few people who I'm actually excited might actually put a shot in the arm to the women's division on the main roster.
Yeah.
She could actually make waves. You know, men call-ups are dead zone at this point.
Yeah.
But I think women call-ups have a lot more potential in that respect. You know, especially now that we've seen Asuka actually win the belt.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot more hope for these women call-ups. So it'll be interesting to see when Baszler gets called up. I'd like to see Baszler break Asuka's title reign record, though, before she goes up. I think she deserves it. I think she's putting a lot of work for it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really satisfying when they find somebody who really can take that belt off Baszler for a long amount of time.
Or if they've got to eventually have Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey.
I'd actually kind of like to see Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, with Shayna still having the NXT Women's Belt and Rousey having the Raw Women's Belt.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love that.
After Becky wins it and subsequently loses it.
Yeah.
Because of shenanigans by the McMahon. Let's not talk about that.
Oh Lord. Anyway.
And then Ciampa Black. It took the crowd a little bit to get into this one. I think they were just tired.
Yeah, me too.
But I loved the continuity of Aleister Black selling the leg the whole match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he did a great job doing that. That black mask. Oh, and then my other thing was like that black mask that Ciampa then just like rolled over. You know, like he hit the black mask and the Ciampa fell, and the Ciampa immediately rolled over onto his stomach. And then there was like a 10-second pause. And I was like, why don't you roll him over with your arms then? You're like right there. Just try and pin him anyway.
Like,
instead, they just kind of sat there and waited. And
he rolled away, and you're just like, Aleister, pull him back. Roll him back towards you.
I'm like, come on, this is pretty basic shit.
Yeah. But hey, he's tired and his leg hurts, okay?
But he didn't need his leg, Joshua. His arms were fine. He could have used his arm.
And very similarly to how it took so long for the Kirifuda clutch to put down Baszler, it took like, what, 4 unhappy endings or whatever he calls his finishing move to take down Black? It took like 4 of them.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that like that Ciampa unrolled Matt on the outside the same way Gargano did, which helped like tell the story at the end where they both posed. You know, I like this heel DIY where they're not actually together.
Yeah.
But they're like, they have like this weird, well, you know, it's a weird dynamic that you want to see where it goes.
Yeah.
And I think that level of uncertainty is definitely compelling enough to make you want to watch the program, which is what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it goes to show why NXT is booked so much better.
Way much better. 2018 was an absolutely phenomenal year for NXT. 2019, I hope it's just as good, if not better.
I think they're only getting better. Is this my favorite takeover of all time? No.
No.
Like, it was a hell of a show.
Yeah, it was very well done.
I wish I could have seen this live. I was actually at an indie show where this guy who had lost for 12 straight years won his first match by going wire to wire in a Rumble.
That's how you get someone over.
That was, well, he was already over before he won that. I mean, I showed you that. I sent Joshua the video. The roof came off the place.
Yeah, and you can hear, in that video, you could hear my buddy, the Colonist, losing his mind.
I freaked the hell out. I mean, that was the first and probably the only time in a very long time I've marked out, like, for somebody actually winning. I was actually wearing his shirt that night when he won that. But and anyway, go check out Man Scout Jake Manning for those of you who want to give this guy a look. But anyway, hell of a show for TakeOver.
Mm-hmm.
Royal Rumble happened.
Yeah, it definitely happened. I hope WrestleMania is good this year. I really do.
I wouldn't bet on it.
I know. I'm just like, please. Last year was...
It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad that you really can't bet on WWE shows being good anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the Elimination Chamber should be interesting.
I think it will be. I think it kind of defeats the purpose having 2 pay-per-views in between Mania. I think you should really only have 1. Myself, because I think you do a lot better just having build up on the shows, and you could focus more on the TV shows rather than trying to put storylines into 2 pay-per-views on the network. You know, but that's just me. Especially now that the brands are now fused together.
Yeah.
You know, for that, it's like if you're having 2 co-branded pay-per-views, that's just a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. But we'll see.
I
suppose we'll see.
Yeah.
And we'll get to tell you how we feel come WrestleMania season.
Yeah, we'll be able to review WrestleMania by the time Backlash rolls around.
Yeah, by the time it's SummerSlam, we'll have that WrestleMania video out.
Yeah. Schedules, what's that? Well, hope you guys enjoyed. We will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
See you at Mania.